I'm going to give you my recommendations on how to load out your Anvil Gladiator, and we're starting right now.
Anvil Aerospace, all systems online.
Thank you so much to all the support from patrons and channel members. Welcome to A Star Citizen's Loadout Guide. What's up, citizens? This is SubliminaL here, and in this guide, we'll discuss my recommendations for both weapons and components for your Anvil Gladiator. Our primary build is stealth, but I'll be giving you my standard recommendations as well. My full review of the Gladiator will be coming soon, so make sure you're not one of the 60% of viewers who aren't subscribed. I go live on Twitch just before a YouTube release. Come over and give me your thoughts on the Gladiator and my loadout. Enough with the formalities, let's get to it. The T-8A Gladiators were originally developed to bridge the gap between fighters and bombers for the military. The best use for the Gladiator in the game's current state is a stealth PvP bounty hunting ship, and today, we're going to load it out to excel at just that. I'll also be giving honorable mentions for a non-stealth loadout as well. Let's take a look at its components. Let's start with the power plant, the component that gives all the rest of the components power. The standard power plant on the Gladiator is the Size 1 Grade 3 military class Regulus with over 2100 max power draw per second, a 13.75 draw request time, and a 3.78 EM IR signature. As I said earlier, we're going stealth, so I'll be adding the Slipstream. It's grade 1, stealth class, has almost 1800 max power generation per second, a super quick 1.25 second draw request time, and just 0.63 EM IR signature. We will lose 367 max power draw, but reduce the time it takes to reach that max power draw down to just 1.25 seconds, and reduce our signature by 3.15. For more insight on power plants, check out my power plant guide. The Slipstream will set you back around 19,000 Alpha UEC and can be found at these locations. Let's discuss its coolers. These are used to cool our components. The standard coolers on the Gladiator are the Size 1 Grade 3 military class bracer coolers with the max cooling rate of 260 kilos per second and a draw request time of 12.5 seconds. These coolers have more than enough cooling capacity, but a long request time. You can certainly keep these if you're low on Alpha UEC, they're good enough. If you want to have the best EMP recovery time, I recommend adding Zero Rushes. They are Grade 2, competition class, with a cooling rate of 230 kilos per second and a draw request time of 3 seconds. These offer less capacity but can get to that full capacity in just 3 seconds. I choose not to go stealth here because the difference in IR is minimal. To find out why upgrading this is solely for EMP recovery or for an explanation on how kilo per second is not a unit of measurement, check out my guide on coolers. One Zero Rush will set you back over 16,000 Alpha UEC and can be found at these locations. Before we get to the shields, the link to this specific loadout at Urkel.games can be found via the link in the description. It even tells you the prices and locations on where to find these items in the verse. And remember to head over to the channel Discord to see my updated loadouts. We have a community of almost 1,500 citizens who like to discuss ships, loadouts, components, weapons, and more. Now for its shield generators that protect our ship and these components. The Gladiator stock shield generators are the Size 1 Grade 3 military class all-stop shield generators with an HP pool of 5400, a 207 HP per second regen rate. They block a minimum of 50% ballistic fire, have a 5.25 second damage delay, a 7.5 second down delay, and a 12-second draw request time. For stealth, there is really only one shield you want, and that's the Mirage. A Mirage is Grade 1, stealth class, with an HP pool of over 3000, a 342 HP per second regen rate. It blocks a minimum of 50% ballistic fire, has a 2.14 second damage delay, a 14-second down delay, and a 3-second draw request time. This will significantly reduce your shield pull, but it's quicker across the board with regen rate, downed, damage delays, and has a significant EM/IR reduction. Stealth would not be possible without this. One Mirage will set you back almost 29,000 Alpha UEC and can be found at these locations. And lastly, the quantum drive that will help you get to the stores to sell these components faster. The standard QT drive on the Gladiator is the Size 1 Grade 3 military class Beacon with a 253 megameter per second quantum speed, a 18.6 per megameter fuel requirement, a 2.25 second spool up, and a 12-second cool down time. This drive isn't terrible and it's pretty quick, but it can't make a trip from one end of the system to the other. I recommend using the Atlas. The Atlas is grade 1, civilian class, has 152 megameter per second quantum speed, a 7.5 per megameter fuel requirement, a 5.1 second spool up, and a 8.7 second cooldown time. This drive is one of the fastest drives that can make a trip from one end of the system to the other. The Atlas will run you almost 18,000 Alpha UEC and can be found at these locations. I'm excited to announce a new art series, Vessels of the Verse. This will be the first of many designs that will be released alongside buyer's guides and loadout guides. It will be available on Displayed in 48 hours, on the merch store in 24 hours. Desktop wallpapers are available right now to Twitch subs, patrons, and YouTube channel members, and mobile wallpapers are available for free via a link in the description. Now let's talk about its stock weapons and my recommendations. Underneath, the Gladiator is equipped with 2 pilot-controlled fixed size 3 weapon hardpoints under the wings, with a size 3 Mantis GT220 mounted. One Mantis does 29 alpha damage times 1000 RPM for a total of 480 DPS and a 2400 meter range. As you are well aware, I like these guns, but not on this ship. I want to keep my enemies as far away from me as I can while keeping my signature down. So we'll add a couple of Tarantula GT870 Mark IIIs. One Mark III does 294 alpha damage times 80 RPM for a total of 392 DPS and a 3100 meter range. One Mark III will run you around 29,000 Alpha UEC each and can be found at these locations. Above and behind the cockpit, we have a turret with a pair of CF337 Panther laser repeaters. One Panther does 96 alpha damage times 275 RPM for a total of 440 DPS and a 2100 meter range. Again, I love these guns for PvE, however, they require too much power and generate a much higher signature. So I'll be adding a pair of Mark IIIs to match the pilot. It should be noted that these weapons can be removed from the free freelancer that everyone gets, so you don't even need to buy them. Under each wing we have 2 MSD-322 missile racks, one with 2 Ignite 2s and one with 2 Tempest 2s. Honestly, with the way missiles are behaving right now, these will do just fine, but if you have some Strike Force 2s available from one of my previous builds, I prefer these. One Strike Force 2 is size 2, does 3800 damage, has a 2.4 second lock time and a 4800 meter lock range. Another highly recommended honorable mention would be Rattler 2s due to their incredibly quick lock time and temporary blindness. Now, for the Big Daddy missiles or torps, I'm not really sure what to call them. Underneath in the missile bay we have 4 size 5 Stalker 5s. One Stalker 5 is size 5, does almost 8900 damage, has a 7-second lock time, and a 31,000 meter lock range. These are the only size 5 cross-section missiles, so I will keep these. Another highly honorable mention would be the Scimitar 5s, with half the lock time and slightly more range at the cost of its damage output. If you don't have about 240,000 Alpha UEC for this build, I would buy them in the following order. The most important things here are stealth components, followed by the weapons. Before we talk about stealth stats, let's quickly go over not going stealth. Not going stealth in the Gladiator is not recommended. My first impressions are it's squishy and requires a turret gunner to be anything more than laughable. But if you want to try it out anyway, use my regular build. Strap on the military grade JS300 power plant, drop in a couple of military grade FR66 shield generators, throw in some zero rushes for quicker EMP recovery time, and lastly I'd add the same Atlas quantum drive. Now for the weapons, I'd go with CF337s for PvE and Mantis GT220s for PvP. Again, this isn't recommended. If you have a person available to man a turret, the Hurricane is a better duo fighter ship. I just did a guide on it recently. Let's take a look at those stealth stats. Your resting IR in the Gladiator is around 5,000 with this stealth build. So depending on your opposition's radar, your detection range is between 2,500 and 3,750 if you're not using Afterburner. You are free to fly around at any speed while firing without raising your IR significantly, but if you use your Afterburner, that goes right out of the window. This includes Space Break. With a missile range of 31,000, your limiting factor will be your enemy's detection range. If you can detect and missile lock your enemy, then fire away. These missiles are strong enough to take out most light fighters with one missile, or 2 or more for larger ships like the Freelancer. I think this goes without being said, this build is extremely squishy and you should avoid a straight up fight at all costs. I hope you damn dirty missile throwing apes enjoyed my loadout recommendations. Let me hear yours down in the comments. My full review of the Anvil Gladiator will be coming shortly, so make sure you're subscribed and have the bell clicked. Remember, I go live on Twitch before every YouTube release. Come and hang out. If you enjoy my channel, there are 6 ways to support it. Number 1, you can smash that like button. Number 2, you can share this content with someone who may enjoy it. Number 3, you can check out my Vessels of the Verse collection over at Displate and in the merch store. Number 4, you can follow me on Twitch. Prime subs help support the channel. Number 5, you can subscribe and turn on notifications by clicking the circle here. And number 6, if you're feeling generous, consider becoming a channel member or even better, a patron. Some pledge perks can be seen here, including desktop versions of my Locations of Stanton collection available to all patrons and channel members. If not, just sticking around until the end is greatly appreciated. Until next time, citizens, I'll see you in the verse.